Hi, I'm DougBetts. Welcome to my new YouTube channel, Live Windows Training. This is where I provide professional computer consulting services to people through live streaming on YouTube. If you're interested in requesting a session with me, you can go to the website LiveWindowsTraining.com to find out how to request a session. This video is a black label video. I'm using 3 different color labels in the thumbnails on my videos. The colors are green, blue, and black. Green indicates that it's a topic intended for users, end users, basic users. Blue indicates the topic is intended for intermediate or advanced users. And black indicates that the topic is intended for technicians, whether they're amateur technicians or professional technicians. So a person could be a technician for their own purposes, just fascinated with the technical inner workings of computers, or on the professional side where you're providing professional technical services to clients. This session today I was not planning to do. I just stumbled across a topic that I think is pretty important to put out there for technicians. And I don't have all the answers around this topic. So if there's people that put information into the comments that's useful, that's part of my intention behind my black label topics, is to bring on conversation and discussions within the technical community. So the computer that I'm connecting to today is an actual client computer. I do have permission to use their computers in videos with certain limitations where I'm anonymizing the information about the computer. So before I go any further, I'm going to do a live stream check here. Before I go any further, I'm going to do a live stream check here. Okay, put that on mute and it's working. So we'll go forward here. Now with these, if you've watched others of my videos, you know that these are not scripted, and very little planning, if any. This one has a little planning, a little bit of setup in order to anonymize the computer that I'm showing to you and the circumstances. So this has to do with Windows Update. Windows Update has been a bit of a head scratcher in how it operates, how it's designed to operate, and how it actually operates. So what I'm showing today, I think is probably an anomaly, and maybe other technicians are experiencing this, maybe not. So let's get moving into it. Now for this, I'm going to be having some blur operations going on. So I first bring up the screen that I'm about to show you on my preview window, and then I click on Push It Live. And so here's the screen. There's a couple sections blurred out for anonymizing purposes. The name of my client up here and over here. I'm about to connect to their computer. I'm actually already connected. I'm about to launch the remote control session. Before I do that, I'm going to click on this checkbox to disable wallpaper and visual effects during remote access. That's because this user has personal photos on the desktop wallpaper, so that will hide that. Previously, I had connected to this computer and disabled their icons, desktop icons. Now, to actually do the switch, I'm going to change to my desk camera and then launch the remote session. Now, the reason for that is I have another blur that I'm going to apply before I turn that live. You can see icons across the bottom of this desktop, and this blur is going to blur out those icons because they are a little bit of identifying features. So here I push that live, and here's the screen, what you're able to see. So normally there's a desktop wallpaper, and there's a whole bunch of icons on this desktop. And when I connected to this computer this morning to do some other work, I noticed this red dot over here in the system tray. Previously, I have seen yellow dots there, and it's an indication that the computer needs to be restarted to finish installing Windows updates. And this has a red dot, which seems more severe. So I want to show what that is, because you may not have had an opportunity to see this, but on a computer that has the circumstances that this computer has, I think this may occur. And I don't quite understand why Windows Update has not restarted this computer. So what I'm doing here is documenting this for the technical community, and I've got a few strategies in mind for how to deal with it. When I float the mouse over this icon, I get a little pop-up. Let's move my picture a little bit. I need to move my picture out of the way rather than switching to a different view, because I need to keep the blurs in effect. So here I'll push that live. There you go. So I'm going to float the mouse over that icon again so we can see it. It says your device is at risk of being out of date. It will need to restart to install updates. Select a time to restart. So if I click on that, it'll give me an opportunity to select a time to restart. But the situation here is the user has not noticed that. Ideally, the user would notice that and then select a time to restart. I want to show some other aspects about this symptom before we do that. Now I'm going to switch views here, clicking on the start button, and then I type update, and I'm looking for update settings, and it shows up here on the top of that search result. Click on that. And then I can show you this. Let's see, do I have that? I gotta check for one particular blur here. Yeah, I need to add another blur, so this is going to take just a moment. And let's see, yeah, so I'm working over here on my preview screen to add another scene. My scene for that is called Blur Template, and then I'll make some adjustments to that. And then I scrunch that down to blur the part that I need to blur. And this was also for doing a little more anonymizing. So I'm going to push that live now. And what we have here at the top, restart required. We couldn't find a good time to install updates outside of your active hours and need you to restart your device to finish up. So my understanding of the design intent behind Windows updates is that Microsoft or Windows will automatically restart the computer outside of working hours. And I've told my clients to close all their programs at the end of their workday and leave their computer on. Optionally, they can log out, and I'm expecting that to still work. Now this says they couldn't find a good time to install updates outside of your active hours. So we come down here and see that active hours on this computer is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But this computer is left on all overnight on a regular basis, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. So for some reason, this computer has failed to restart. Now let's go look at the active hours screen. Automatically adjust active hours for this device based on activity. That's turned off. That's okay. 8 to 5 is fine for this computer. I can change those current active hours. There's nothing in there that should have prevented this from doing a restart overnight. If we go down to advanced options, we find receive updates for other Microsoft products when you update Windows. That's turned on. Okay, that should not prevent a restart. Download updates over metered connections. That's not an issue for this. Restart this device as soon as possible when a restart is required to install an update. Windows will display a notice before the restart and the device must be on and plugged in. Now what I have witnessed happening when this is turned on is it will restart during active hours. I've seen it restart when there are programs open, and it does display a message, but if the user's not at the computer at the time, then the restart just happens. So I don't like for that to be on. Then there's update notifications to show a notification when your PC requires a restart to finish updating. When I first connected to this computer this morning and investigated this situation, that was turned off. So I've seen notifications appear to let people know that their computer needs to restart, and I think even when that's on, many users will just click it away and not take any action based upon that. They shouldn't have to. The restart should happen at night automatically. Then there's pausing updates. That's not set. It's not active to pause updates. So there's nothing here that should have prevented it from restarting. Now we're going to go look at the event viewer, and I want to show some things that reveals about this situation. I'm going to switch back to my camera 3, and although actually no, I don't need to do that. I checked up on this earlier, so let's come back to here. Well, I lost that one template. Why did that go away? So I'm going to have to add back that other blur template. And then shrink this back down to the place where I want that blur. So there's those two blurs, and that should hold that change, but it didn't. Why? Okay, here we go back. So what I'm going to do is Windows key R and then go to MMC, and it's already there because I did that on this computer as I was preparing for this live stream. And I usually don't prepare much for the live streams because I want to show authentic, real technical work, but because this is connecting to a client computer, I needed to do a little preparation. So here's the MMC console, and I'm doing Alt F for the file menu, and then The number 1 will select a recent console that I've had opened, which is Event Viewer. So this is just an alternative way to get into Event Viewer. And then I'm going to expand the Windows Logs section, and we're going to look at some things in Windows Logs. And I want to show a, let's see, which computer I want to do this on. This piece I didn't prepare for, so I'm going to go back to my camera 3 and do a quick little prep for this one. Over here into my technical notes area, and then I want Event Viewer. There's Event Viewer, and within the Event Viewer I want filter error events, event codes, logon events. Where's the one I want? Yeah, I'm not seeing it there. All right, so I'll do it over here. Because this is actually where I was working on it. Since these two computers are both logged in with my Microsoft account, I was expecting that to show up. So that's the page that it's on. And is it there? Oh, it is there. Yeah, it is there. Okay, so we'll go that way. So for that, interesting difference. Okay, we'll go this way. Here I'm showing this to you on my streaming computer, and we're in my technical notes section within the OneNote program, and this is where I keep track of notes for general technical issues. I also have OneNote files for each of my clients. But here we're looking at error events, and these are event numbers that I'm interested in watching. And I show over here, some of these are in system logs, and there's a setup log for that one. So we're going to be looking at updates, reboot necessary, and updates. So in the setup log is what we're interested in looking at now. So let's go back to camera 3 and then see if my blur settings held this time. There's that one, that one. Oh, there it is. Yeah, those held, so I'm going to push that scene live. So we're going to start with looking at the setup log. And then sort these events in date and time order. These logs usually come up in date time order fairly close, but it's not always precisely correct. So I clicked on it once, and that puts it in order by date and time, but that arrow or triangle at the top is pointed up, which means the most recent are at the bottom. I like working with it with the most recent items at the top. So here the most recent item is March 14th, 2020. Today is April 11th, 2020, so that was quite some time ago. We've got a message here saying a reboot is necessary before package KB455-1762 can be changed to the installed state. That is the update that's waiting to be installed. And I don't think I showed you that number. So let's go back and into Windows Update. So the Windows key update settings, and notice here that it is update 455-1762 that is waiting to be installed. 455-1762. So that has been waiting to be installed since March 14th, quite a while ago. So that implies this computer has not been restarted since then. Now, prior to that, let's see, 12:05 a.m. So that's the same day. Got a message initiating changes for 455-1762. Current state is absent. Target state is installed. So that's indicating that that update is absent. It has not been installed yet. Target state, what it intends to become, is installed. Then let's look at the prior message initiating changes for package 453-2938. So that's a different update. Current state is superseded, target state is absent. And then the prior event, which is also the same day, 12:02 a.m., initiating changes for 452-8760. Current state is superseded, target state is absent. So it looks to me like that one also is needing to be installed, even though we didn't see that as a pending update. Then prior to that, 2 days prior to that, we have a successfully changed to the installed state for another update. Now that one I don't think required a restart. I don't think it achieved a restart. Prior to that, we've got a message, a reboot is necessary for 454-0673. That's the one that's pending now, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. 1762. Okay, so that was another one. A reboot is necessary before it can be changed to the installed state. So what I want to do now is find out how long has it been since this computer has been restarted. So for that, I'm going to go to the system log, and I'm going to filter. Well, you know what? Before we do that, let's look at these right here. Because these have to do with Windows Update Client, so I want to show and document what happens there. I'm doing a couple clicks in the header for date and time to get these sorted by date and time. So this most recent event, I must have this filtered already. That can't be the most recent. Well, no, 4/11. Oh, okay, April, that's today at 10:01 a.m. Yeah, that could be the most recent. So this was an installation successful for Windows Defender antivirus. So the Windows Defender antivirus installs without needing a restart. So that's still updating even though we have not restarted the computer and even though there's an update that is pending. And then there's another one for Windows Defender antivirus. Windows Update started downloading an update. So those are the only three there regarding Windows Update. Not really pertinent to what we're looking for. So over on the right-hand panel, I'm going to click on Filter Current Log. And I'm going to filter for event IDs 12,13. Because they have to do with restarts. And we find here the operating system started at March 13th. Now up here, the date and time shows as March 12th, 5:51 p.m., but the detail for that says March 13th. Oh, that's Zulu time. So we are 8 hours behind Zulu time. So 5 p.m. is 1751 hours. So when you add 8 hours to that, well, 7 hours because we're on daylight savings time now, then you get this Zulu time number, which is actually on March 13th. So that's the last time that this was restarted. March 12th, 5:51 p.m., which explains how that one update had been installed and the subsequent one has not been installed yet because the restart has not occurred. So the head scratcher here is how to protect against all the variety of staff people in an office that are not paying attention to Windows updates. And I have found that when I instruct a staff person about the need for restarting their computer for Windows updates, that type of instruction just doesn't really stick very well because that's not their daily activity or what they're concerned about. So I find even in offices that are in the habit of shutting their computers down at night, I can send them emails, I can talk to them about the need to leave their computers on at night so that updates can be automatically installed and so that Windows 10 can do other maintenance procedures at night. And they may do that for a while and then forget about it, or somebody who's concerned about computers being left on overnight and costing electricity, which really isn't that big of a cost. I find that those instructions don't stick. So now I'm contemplating creating a task scheduler item on computers to automatically trigger a restart, maybe once a week in the middle of the night. Not quite sure how I'm going to wind up handling this, but the significant thing that I wanted to point out is about that red dot, and that it's kind of trying to scream at the person using the computer, I need to be restarted. Please restart me. So I think that probably gets this topic out on the table enough. For some technicians watching this, perhaps you haven't done much with Event Viewer or don't known how to find those particular events. And so I hope this has been useful for you, and perhaps there will be other videos in the future for this ongoing saga. If you put comments down below, I'll likely respond to those to inspire some interaction between technicians about this. If you have end users who need some training on various topics, I welcome you to point them towards me. They can get an almost free session with me for training on things that aren't justifiable for you to spend time training them. So I think that's a wrap for this video. Thanks for watching. Please leave any comments below. I hope to get some interaction with you. If you have a really sticky problem that you'd like to get some community involvement in, I'd love for you to request a session with me, technician to technician. And between us and putting the situation on the internet, on YouTube, perhaps we can find a solution. What else? Okay, go to the website, LiveWindowsTraining.com, to find out how to request a session. So that's all for now. Catch you later. Goodbye.